Good morning, my beautiful crime family. I hope everybody's getting ready for a big turkey day. And I wish everybody a happy Indigenous Day to go along with that. No more Thanksgiving. It's about time. And I hope you have a good weekend. Should be a good one. And I hope everybody is with their families and all that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be. My truck got fixed out here. That's a good thing. I ran across something. You know how I like those little channels that you find, right? Well, this one is, I think it had 213 views or something like that. Not very many. And it should have a lot more than it does because it's got good information. And I'm going to share that with you. Actually, I'm going to share a couple with you. And they're both kind of short, so I'm going to set this one up here because this one is, I think it's pretty important. No matter what side of the fence you're on, I think it's pretty important. So let's get right to it, shall we? And this is about cameras, and this is from Forensic Frenzy. She's only got 35 subscribers, so please go. I subscribed. Please go sub her up, like it. She only has 211 views in a day, so, and this is a pretty good video. So I'm just going to let her speak it. And it's about the cameras. She located them. So let's check it out.
Welcome back, everyone. As always, thanks for watching Forensic Frenzy. So this morning I got into a bit of a rabbit hole, I guess, looking for like highway cameras, roadway cameras in and around both Moscow and Pullman. And I wanted to share with you guys some of the stuff that I found. So in fairness, I did not find a ton, but what I did find piqued my interest because a lot of what I found relates to areas we've heard about. So make sure you go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And obviously there are so many of you who haven't. And then once you're done here, if you see what you like, share it with your favorite creators. I appreciate it. So one of the very first things that I noticed on the Washington State Department of Transportation website is that in the general area of Pullman, Washington, where Washington State University sits, there are only 4 cameras that the Department of Transportation is aware of, and they are all at the Pullman Moscow Regional Airport. So when law enforcement stated that they lost the white sedan after it went toward 270 in the PCA, I guess this might explain why. And then I remembered that the defendant also allegedly traveled through other places when returning back to Washington, heading from the south and going north. So I went to look at some of those places. And I noticed that there are 8 cameras in the Uniontown area. Here at the bottom of page 13, and at the top of page 14, you see traveling west toward Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back into Pullman. So again, in the Uniontown region, I found 8 cameras. What you see here is camera 2 of 8. Many of them are down, probably about half of them. And the visual on all of them is this, whatever number you would rate this. I give it about a 3, but it's this. As I'm sure many of you remember, Brett Payne stated in the probable cause affidavit that suspect vehicle 1 is likely to have exited the neighborhood of the King Road home, from Palouse River Drive via Conestoga. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow. Eventually, the road leads into Pullman, 10 miles down the road. Furthermore, from the PCA, we also know that Brett Payne states he assumes that once the vehicle was seen back near WSU on Johnson Road, it may have been coming from West Palouse River Drive. And so I wanted to show you this. This is the intersection of 95 and Palouse River Drive. This came from the Idaho Transportation Department. Okay. This was screenshot this morning. All of the screenshots that you see from all of the rest of the cameras, as well as the screenshots that I showed you of where cameras are located in Washington, everything came from this morning. So everything has a timestamp on there and a date for today because it's when I took the screenshot. At the top in the red, you will see on all of the screenshots the actual name of like the intersection that you're looking at, okay? So this is Palouse River Drive. And ironically, there's a really good camera there. So this is just a nice little screenshot to show you where Palouse River Drive is relative to the King Road home, okay? So up in the upper left-hand corner where the location marker is, that is actually the Queen Road Apartments, but as we know, 1122 King Road is right next door, okay? So upper left-hand corner, King Road area, lower left-hand corner beneath the little green park, West Palouse River Drive, okay? To the right of West Palouse River Drive, if you just travel right on down West Palouse River Drive, you hit the orange line, which is 95. The camera actually sits on West Palouse River Drive in 95, okay? Now, traveling down West Palouse beyond the orange line, other side, okay? If you see in the lower right-hand corner, we have Palouse River Drive, okay, right above University Collision of Moscow. And then right above that, probably about an inch or two on my screen, it looks like, is Indian Hills Drive, where the car just appeared out of nowhere, okay? After leaving WSU, it just showed up here, okay, for the first time. That's the first time that we know of it. But what I'm getting at here with this is that I actually think they knew more about the vehicle than it just showed up on Indian Hills Drive, because there are a lot of cameras with really good angles around Moscow. So this is from 95 and D Street, which is just a few blocks away from the Grub Truck and the Corner Club. You can see the vehicle here very well. Just a screenshot to show you relativity. West D Street is at the very top of your screen. The Corner Club is on the right in the center. And on the lower left, you see Jack's Diner. The Grub Truck is right outside of that. Moving on to the next one, we have 95 and 8, or 3rd. And 8 is Troy Road. 3rd is actually the portion of 8 that the Grub Truck sits along. Again, just a quick screenshot. On the left, you see Jack's Diner. Directly above it, you see the Grub Wandering Kitchen. You see that that is located on Highway 8, which is also East 3rd. Second camera, other side, 95 and 3rd, where the Grub Wandering Truck is located. Just a quick screenshot to show you the two sides of Highway 95 connected by Highway 8 or 3rd Street. So this is another camera at the corner of 95 and 8 in another area where 8 is Troy Road. If you remember, Troy Road is originally where the gas station owner or manager or whoever it was found the white car on their footage passing by weeks after the murders, from the night of the murders, and turned it into law enforcement. Just off of Troy Road at Sweet Ave, we have 95 and what they have as Sweet Street, but it is 95 and Sweet Ave. Okay. And it is the main entrance, Main Street entrance of the University of Idaho. Quick screenshot briefly to show you where we're at. So the two yellow lines are Highway 95 in Troy, where the actual gas station was. And if you go down Highway 95, center of your screen at the bottom, you see the two arrowed lanes going off. That is Sweet Ave. That is where the main entrance, I believe, would be. So this is going to be 95 and Sweet Ave camera right here. So another thing that intrigued me is that we know that the defendant had a couple of traffic stops that were mentioned in the probable cause affidavit, one of which was on August 21st of 2022. We later found out in the probable cause affidavit at another point that that actual stop was at Farm Road and Pullman Highway. So how intrigued was I when I found out that there is actually a camera right at Farm and Pullman? But there are also cameras at Pullman and Line, Pullman and Farm, and Pullman and I'm going to butcher the name of the, so let's see, War Bonnet. And these cameras are entering and exiting Idaho, going back and forth between Idaho and Washington along the route that the defendant would have taken that night in August, when they also referred back to him having been stalking the girls outside of their home for an hour and 1 minute. So another confusing little tidbit in the PCA is that he traveled to Lewiston, Idaho using United States Highway 195. And I looked to see how you would travel from Pullman to Lewiston. I noted that in that portion of the PCA, they're talking about this Kate's Cup of Joe and how he went into Albertsons. So I assumed that this would have been during the transaction when he went from Pullman to Albertson, that he traveled to Lewiston, Idaho using 195. So I did put it all into Google, and there is like only one way to get there. You do go through Lewiston, Idaho. It is down 195. And I thought to myself, well, are there cameras in that area? And I found the Lewiston Hill camera, which would be the direction that he would have to take to get there. So I'm starting to wonder if the vehicle did just pop up at Indian Hills Drive. And I'm starting to wonder if the phone did just return the next morning without a vehicle's path of travel, or if we just don't know about all the traveling that they are alleging the defendant actually did in the area, because there are a number of quality highway and roadway cameras in Moscow. And then I just wanted to show you this last but not least, because aside from the fact that the camera lens was obviously wet this morning, you can very clearly in the lower left-hand corner of the screen see what is like a navy blue or some sort of blue Prius. And on the opposite side of the intersection there, despite the fact that the lens is obviously more distorted above that car, you can see that that is some kind of white, possibly four-door sedan. So it's just very interesting to think that we are assuming that they're working with these blurred images of the vehicles that they were looking at, when in actuality, I think that they may have some really quality imaging of these different vehicles, of the alleged suspect vehicle one, as far as like the car that they followed, in their canvas from point A to point B, down to Albertsons, back out to Johnson, Idaho, like all over the place and stuff like that. I just feel like despite everyone else's camera abilities, I am quite shocked with the camera abilities of MPD in the Moscow area, because everyone made it seem like they were not going to have very much as far as like quality imaging of the potential car. I don't know, guys. You let me know. I guess I just assume that regardless of how people feel about the defendant's guilt or innocence, or who you think could have potentially done this, having knowledge of where these cameras are throughout the city of Moscow is actually super helpful, especially in the areas that we are familiar with, so that you can get a general idea of if someone else did come into this area and do this, how did they escape these vehicles? How would they have had to have gotten into the area without being seen? Is it that they literally came from in the area and that's why they weren't seen on these cameras? Um, and if you think that the defendant is just plain guilty, well, then maybe this will help you figure out that he didn't just appear on Indian Hills Drive and that they definitely have a lot more going on in the background that provides some substance as to how he got there. Although they may not know exactly how he got between Pullman and Moscow. They may have some further information that tells them that he was around Moscow and around the general area of where the girls were prior to returning home that night, and then returned into the area of their home as well. So, however you feel about the defendant, however you feel about the case, I actually think that this is just still quality information to have. Thanks again for watching, and follow me on X at forensic_frenzy.
So that was quite interesting. But I have to ask a couple questions here. Something that maybe we didn't think of before. Because there were so many mistakes from such an intelligent young man studying in criminology. So many mistakes. Bringing his phone with him, knowing about cameras. That maybe he was told of some fights. And maybe he was told they were going to really start at 3. Because they knew by that time it'd be a great setup. Have them come over that way, right? Just think about this for a second. Let's get a car involved. Who the hell said there was a car? There didn't have to be a car involved. Not when it's from your own backyard. So he comes over. You see what I'm getting at? Who said there was a fucking car? The police did. Because there was this car buzzing around. We seen, I showed you what happened. I showed you. He pulled in there, seen what was happening, backed out. Think about it for a second. Let's tell Mr. Culver, the one that, grades everybody really rough. Somebody they don't like. Have them come over. That's okay. You got the car. Everybody wants to talk about the car, the sheath, the sheath, the house. Let's not look at Linda Lane. Let's not let's cause a bunch of diversions. The car being one of them, the house being one of them. At least for 2. Let's throw a sheath in there. After we shook his hand. somehow, something. There's plenty to think about there. Was the car just another diversion? Because it doesn't make sense that this man did this at all. A very intelligent young man going to school for a PhD. He knows inside and out how they investigate. Crosses state line where they have the death penalty. Doesn't make sense. So you have to start thinking outside the box. And outside the box is the car might have been just a diversion. Keep everything away from what happened. And I stated that before. It's all about the house. It's all about the house. And now you can say, and it's about the car. It's about the car, the 2013 car. I know some stuff about that too. Let's see if I can read this to you. Might have to get my glasses on for this one. I'll read it to you. Get the old reading glasses on. Let's see if I can find the first one. I don't know if this is the first one or not, but I'm going to go with it. Okay. The former owners of 1122 King Road, all right, DE and SP. I'm sure everybody that's been following the case knows who I'm talking about. On December 9th, 2022, DE and Team Idaho Real Estate transferred the property management to Franklin Lee, which brings us full circle back to the start. Franklin Lee donates the house to the University of Idaho, which is a legal tax write-off. What is the house hiding? Idaho wanted to demolish a house so quickly. Facts. Franklin Lee donated the 1122 King Road property to Scott Green and the University of Idaho. At University of Idaho, Franklin Lee, I'm just going to say names, and Scott Clear Sr. earned their law degrees and took the bar exam at the same time. Franklin Lee hired Ellison, and I'm going to use this name so you know who I'm talking about, Ellison Blueberry. My crime family knows who I'm talking about. Ellison Blueberry. As a paralegal at his law firm. Ellison Blueberry drives a white four-door 2013 Hyundai Elantra sedan. She is the mother of David Blueberry. Now, what do you think of that? There it is. That is the story. Always got to look outside that box. You have to in cases like this. You have to. because nothing frickin' makes sense in any of it. I'm going to play this from, like, what's that guy's name? Vertellus, whatever, Versace, whatever. I'm going to play this real quick. See if I can. I'm going to have to, let's see. This might take me a sec. If you can't read it, you might have to blow it up. You might have to blow that up. I'm not sure if you can or not. Ones with TVs, watching through a TV or a telephone where you can blow it up, you're going to have to probably do that. Anyway, I hope everybody has an awesome Turkey Day. I don't know if I'll be back until after the weekend. I have a benefit. I'm going to be trying very hard to get back here to go to. So, yeah, it's going to be hustle bustle for a little while. And so I might be taking a break until next week. What else do I have to say? I know there's more. But this old brain, Alzheimer's. No, and my new background back there, yeah. I got a new background back there. Checking that out. Anyway, I guess until next time, when we talk about this dirty town, rock and roll.
That dirty town, try to do my job as well as I can. Well, I'm going back to that dirty town, trying to do my job as well as I can. Walking in these bad streets, try to forget that noise around. I was sitting on that room floor, thinking all the evening about my baby. I was sitting on that room floor, thinking all the evening about my baby. I've lost my mind in a whiskey and finally I crossed back. without her. Just a day. Well, I love my baby with all my heart. Can't live without her. Just a day. I know I won't be satisfied till I come home again. I'm sitting in the train. I'm feeling so lonesome. No one to talk to. I'm sitting in the train. I'm feeling so lonesome. No one to talk to. I'm so excited 'cause I'm gonna hold my baby. Well, I'm going back to that dirty town. Try to do my job as well as I can. Well, I'm going back to that dirty town. Trying to do my job as well as I can. Walking in his bath strips, try to forget that noise around.